shocking prophecy for the nation Nigeria. Because of the hardship and all going on in this nation presently, many are planning to stage a rebellion against the system.
Another tense day in Nigeria as demonstrators returned to the streets. Police in Abuja lobbed tear gas at protesters, demanding government action to reduce the high cost of living. They're also demanding broad economic, political, and social reforms. The violence and destruction from 2 days of protests has heightened fears across the country.
We want to warn those that are recalcitrant, those that don't want to listen, that will not fold our hands and see our country to be destroyed.
In the northern state of Yobe, despite a curfew, hoodlums attacked Red Cross offices and vandalized its vehicles. And in Lagos, a standoff between protesters and the police continues, with businesses worried about possible attacks on their investments.
They have been on here. We have put our strategy in place. We are interfacing with the protesters, we are engaging them.
Despite assurances from the police, many businesses remain closed for a second day. Analysts warn that the economy, which is already fragile, could suffer long-term damage if the protests continue.
The demonstrators insist they will remain on the streets until the government hears them.
I will not expect any government that calls itself democratic to then remain adamant, despite that people have spoken and they have spoken clearly.
With 7 days of protest left, there are fears of further confrontations between demonstrators and security forces, especially in areas that have seen violence and destruction.
Hello and welcome. Our top focus remains in Nigeria, where protests against economic hardships have turned deadly. At least 13 people have been killed in the rallies across the West African nation, as per rights groups, with fears of the death toll mounting further. As per reports, many deaths took place in the Kaduna state, as thousands across Nigeria marched against the rising cost of living. Nigerian security forces fired live ammunition and tear gas to break protests in major cities. Some Nigerian media outlets have reported that the death toll is feared to be higher at around 17, and that people have lost lives in major cities like the capital of Abuja and Kano. In Kano, the country's second largest city, protesters set fire to tires outside the state governor's office, and police responded with tear gas, forcing most of the demonstrators back. Protesters later ransacked and set a digital center of the Nigeria Communications Commission ablaze. They also raided a warehouse near the Kano governor's office, while police fired shots into the air to disperse the looters. A 24-hour curfew was later imposed in the city. Hundreds of protesters also demonstrated in Abuja, the commercial capital, Lagos, and several other cities. People chanted slogans against President Bola Tinubu, calling him a thief. Now, the mass demonstrations comprise mainly of young people demanding an end to poor governance in Nigeria.